Alrighty, what is up, college baseball fans? Welcome to the Super Regional Preview episode of the 11.7 podcast. Whole squad is here. Jack, Dimitri, Noah. We're all here giving you our Super Regional picks and breakdown analysis, all that fun stuff. Jack will only be here for 30 minutes. He's got a hard cutoff, 30 minutes exactly from now. So we'll get his picks and everything within the first 30 minutes. And then after that, we'll chop it up and I don't know, tell stories, make fun of each other, everything there. So the episode is brought to you by Home Field Apparel. Home Field is sending, Home Field will be in Omaha next week. Excited to meet Josh and their CEO. I believe his name is Colin. But yeah, we're meeting them in person. They're also sending two winners of our weekend series pick'em and our Survivor contest, hotel stays, home field goodie bags, all of that. So really appreciate them for doing the weekend series pick'em this year. But use home field apparel's. Go to homefieldapparel.com. Use our promo code CWS25 for 15% off. Get your orders in now because you want that for Omaha. You want that for this summer. They have everything you need: jerseys, hats, pullovers. In fact, I'm rocking the Arizona home field pullover right now. Best of luck to the Arizona Wildcats this weekend as they play in a super regional. All right, cool. We got all that out of the way. Boys, we got to talk about some stuff, okay? When we're making our picks, we have two options. Do we go with our hearts or do we go with our brains? Because I know where a lot of our hearts are at, and it includes picking a lot of mid-major underdogs, but our brains might be telling us something else. So we got to decide here now before we start making our picks. Who are we and what are we going to pick?
Let me be the brain and then somebody else can be the heart because that's kind of my brand and that's kind of your brand. I'm going to try to get it right like we all talked about during the Eugene Regional. You guys talked me off of Oregon.
Yeah,
Arizona didn't even have to play the Ducks.
You weren't doing a great job of being right there.
Yeah, so what happened? The team that your heart chose at the beginning of the season is still playing.
No, that was brain. That was brain at the beginning of the year.
But you abandoned your heart.
Guys, somebody tweeted in our replies this weekend. It caught my eye, and honestly, it broke my heart and kind of pissed me off. Someone said the mid-major shtick is not cute.
Oh, it's not a shtick. It really.
And I go, it's not a shtick. And I go,
it's not a shtick.
You think we're picking breaks my heart that you think we're doing this for some shtick to be cute.
Yeah. It's not a shtick. You're looking at, 3 mid-major D1 baseball players and then an NAIA not even good enough to play in Division I. We all root for the little guy.
Let me double.
Jack and I weren't good enough to play Division I either. So
let me make something abundantly clear. I didn't get a pair of cleats for 2 seasons. You're talking about a guy that lost thousands of dollars last week betting on the wrong mid-majors. So, hey, let me make something clear. Guy in the mentions, piss poor effort. I took all the other mid-majors. They lost, while the other mid-majors won. But you can't tell by my tone. Still recovering. Had to go pick up a couple shifts at the Waffle House to make this week work a little bit cleaner.
All right.
Well, I can promise you it's not a shtick. We've been doing it for 6 years now. Our hearts do lie with the underdogs and the mid majors, just because, man, we got a taste of reality in 2016 when we were all playing, and from that moment on, we've convinced ourselves every year that there will be another Fresno State or another Coastal Carolina.
There will. Absolute garbage. I'd like to add this, Hugh. And there are a lot of people that are calling me an SEC slappy. One of them is on this call, Ben Upton. Here's the deal. Yes, I've covered a lot of SEC teams this year. It's been about crossing off some bucket lists on my Flops on the Ground tour. But I've also been told twice on occasion that I was the first person ever at Alec Box Stadium to have an A-10 baseball game on the press box. This is real life. You cannot escape reality. This is who we are. I wish I wasn't like this, truthfully, but we cannot escape it. So, Hugh, we see you.
It is not.
Hey, we would have a lot more money in the bank. we would have a lot more followers and fans, and we would have a lot more people that took us seriously if we did convert to the SEC and the ACC only. So if it was a shtick, we're picking the wrong
I was
lane.
If it was,
We're
Yeah.
really
if
losing
we were
ourselves.
using our brains, we wouldn't be still going with our hearts after me a year with you guys and you guys for 6 years.
Like that was what was so awesome about regional weekend. People were like, "Oh, you guys don't know about brother. You just picked the wrong mid-major." But they made some noise this weekend. They wrecked your favorite team's regional, and I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel sorry about it. They destroyed your SEC.
The one seeds just didn't take them seriously enough. 13 of them threw off.
They didn't take him seriously. And I do think because I'm such emotion, and maybe I can speak on behalf of you other ones as well, my freaking national championship pick was a mid-major, and it was dead on day one. Northeastern. Much love, Huskies. Gonzo.
Ben's
had
in
no
the same
shot.
boat.
So what I'd like to add is maybe we have to be a little bit quieter about our mid-major announcements. That way they don't hear us. You know what I mean? Because the select mid-majors in Auburn ended up playing really well. So I'm not sure double motion it up or what the problem is, but ride or die.
I think Jack's onto something there. Because, Fresno State was my favorite 4, and they didn't do anything this weekend either. So.
None of our favorite 4s did.
You were just 17 years late.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah.
You're just 17 years late. But anyways, so the structure of the show today is we're going to just pick all 8 super regionals and pick our winners, our 8 for Omaha. And then after that, we'll really get into the weeds. I have a great conspiracy theory that I need one of you 3 to remind me to do at the end of the show, because I think the fans would love it.
I need to share something with you guys before we get going. There was one clue in front of us since the beginning. What team stands out here?
West Virginia, Murray State, North Carolina,
Alabama.
Tennessee, Florida
Alabama is the only team that's not in the super.
And Oklahoma.
And Oklahoma
too.
So 5 of the last 7 undefeated teams at the start of the season are now in the super regionals. It's the hot, cold, hot theory, fellas.
The Murray State Racers. The clue was there. Why did we fade them? You didn't fade them, Ben. You just didn't pick them.
We are so lucky that we voted them in the mid-major top 25 at the end of the year.
Oh, thank you for reminding me, Noah. That was the other thing I want to do on the show before we get into our super regional pick. I wanted to bring up, because of our shtick, we got to keep our shtick going for the mid-major, if you know what I mean. Week 1 mid-major power ranking, gentlemen. There's one team in here.
Preseason or week 1?
Week 1, after the first weekend. What do you guys notice?
I see Little Rock at 24.
Nobody was on them.
Oops.
But the boys were.
3-0 weekend, we were like, the Trojans got to be in. But
no Murray State, though. Whoops.
And then I'm going to show you, this is our preseason. So let's Noah, since you weren't involved with preseason, I want you to grade this preseason ranking for us.
Preseason mid-major.
Yep.
DBU was a 2 seed. That's a good number 1 overall mid-major. UC Irvine was a 2 seed that was flirting with a national seed. That's good. Troy missing the field of 64 is not a great look. And UC Santa Barbara, Charleston, Wilmington. San Diego wins the WCC regular season. Southern Miss was a host. Stetson got in. They won the regular season they won their division and then win the tournament. And then East Carolina 10.
This is kind of bad. Our preseason was
Coastal
fairly bad.
Carolina.
SEMO
We had a
sucked.
14 in the preseason, and they were flirting with a top
14
8.
for Coastal.
Yeah, Coastal was 14th
bad.
preseason, and they finished as a 13 national seed.
Yeah, they gave the field. Yeah. Did you see? Look at Ben's
So-
name. Love of God. There's never a question. Let's go.
So the point
Who
is,
changed my
here's the
name?
point. So the rankings look bad. But I want you guys to now. I want you guys to now see this. The rankings were back, but look at our preseason ranking. And you can't say it was bad because look at this. So we had DBU. We don't need to read the whole thing, but I just want to go to the teams that, like Charleston. That's just a swing and a miss. That's their fault. That's not our fault. We read them correctly. They just didn't play well. Same thing for Wilmington. That's not our fault. San Diego. If
they won the regular season.
Yep. First few weeks would tell a lot. TCU. So but this is where I want to get to it. Southern Miss. If you didn't do research, just made an educated guess that Southern Miss would be competing for a Sun Belt title in a position to make a regional, more often than not, you would be correct. That statement tells you exactly what happened. But this is what we wrote. If offense develops quickly, this is a prime team to start cold and be the best team in the Sun Belt in May. But they're ranked where we believe they are now.
That ended up coming true.
I think that's kind of true. They on paper were not supposed to be as good as offensively as they were, because they were unbelievable offensively. Stetson, I think that's a great pick. East Carolina, we basically said tough to have eye, but never doubt them. Never doubt them. Western Kentucky, I think that's a hit. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coastal, right here is what do we say about Coastal? Coastal will always hit, but what level pitching style?
The issue is not. The issue is the offense
Just
is
dead
not
wrong.
as elite, so relying on Coastal pitching is sketch. Ended up turning out to be really good. So that's why they were, a number 1 mid-major instead of 14.
Because they ended up pitching their asses off.
They did.
So
Year 1 with Matt Williams. You had no idea how that would work.
So Northeastern, this team needs Avon Cabral to return to freshman year form, and this team will be just fine.
He did.
So Cam Maldonado had a bounce back year, so I think that was a success. Hawaii, great year. I think they're going to keep getting better every year. Rich Hill, I think, is building something.
Yeah.
And then the rest, Grand Canyon, Georgia Southern, dog shit. So it is what it is.
This segment brought to you by Receipts. Receipts proudly brought to you by Dimitri and his vengeance.
So, but anyway, I just wanted to make sure we talked about our preseason with mid-major, our shtick. We got to keep it going.
Yeah. Jack, do you still have that hard out?
A hard out in 15, gentlemen. I'm sorry.
Do we want Jack to give his picks first?
Yeah, let's do this. I thought of a fun game here. Jack goes and picks his 8 super regional champions, and between his picks, we roast his picks and tell him why he's wrong. Like he needs to present his case for all 8 picks. And
are we going to be able to do this in 17 minutes?
Easy.
Oh yeah. Have you ever heard of Chris Berman?
It'll only
Have you ever
be
heard of the
Jack's
Chris
pick.
Berman
We'll come
60
back.
second? Whoop, whoop. Hey, Jack, first of all, last episode we talked about where you might be going this weekend. Do we have an answer?
Well, it changed by the minute, but it feels like World War III is evident. So these flops and this pencil are heading to we're heading to Vietnam, baby, for the first time in my life. So I think we're getting a little Fayetteville, Arkansas action. The Hogs and the Vows. I'm really excited, man. I heard
Can we get a call to hog? Can we get a whoop pig?
Woo Pig Suey! Saving that for my little monologue video where I'm leaving. But since you guys are 11.7 faithful fans that are listening along, you can
Bring your beer hat.
You got a beer hat? Is that a thing?
Can you do me one favor?
Yeah, always.
Give me a beer
Wait,
hat.
time out. Jack, I don't know about
I have no
beer
idea.
hats.
I swear to goodness.
Hit up my guy.
God.
Hit up my guy Phil Elson. Phil Elson.
Oh
I'll
my
get you-
God. How do you not know about it? When they load the bases up, they put on their
Have you ever
beer
watched
hats.
the game in Baum Walker?
I got a lot to learn.
A game.
What's your last name, Noah?
Phil
Bro.
Elston. I'll send you his number after the show.
Phil Elson?
Yo,
Yeah, he's their play-by-play.
Jack, you need to do
Not Phil Elson
something.
who's simply enjoying and creating software products? That's not him?
No.
No.
Jack, a pencil and a beer hat, and you'll go viral. And the hog face will love you.
Do I get
I want you to be in. Here's what I want you to do. You need to go into left field hog pen, a beer in one hand and a pencil in the other hand. You're going to stab the beer with your pencil. You're going to shotgun it in front of the hog, in the middle of the hog pen. And you're going to look to the guy and look to the guy to your left, look to the guy to your right, and you're just going to start interviewing them.
Okay. That's. I mean, this is big brain moves, guys.
You got to pop the can. You got to pop the beer can with a pencil.
I'm not sure if our fans have been able to recognize the level of IQ and savvy that Penn Talk has brought this year, and it hurts me to say it, but it has been you're the Riz God. It's a fantastic idea, and I will be doing so. So, yeah, lock me in. I don't know about the beer hats, though.
Beautiful. Anyways, let's go ahead.
All right, so we're going to make Jack's 8 picks here so that he can hop off. We'll start in Fayetteville, where you're going. Is this one of those scenarios where you're going to Kirk Herbstreit this? And
I think so. I think I'm going to pick both teams to have fun. I'm going to cheer for lots of runs. I'm going to cheer for 1 benches clearing blah. I'm going to cheer for 2 coaches' remarks and post-game pressers that has everyone freaking out. And I'm going to cheer for 3 shotguns and 3 games played at the bomb. So a shotgun each day in the hog pen. So that's what we're rooting for.
So you're going to predict a 3-game series.
3-game series. If you wouldn't mind putting that on the graphic, Dimitri, I'll allow you the creative freedom to put whatever you'd like in that box.
I think I'm going to have to put Arkansas Little Rock.
Yeah. Please put Little Rock. Please. Fantastic.
By the way, I tweeted out one of those press conferences, his opening statement, and it blew up. And then they won all the games. I was not even counting on them winning the games in the weekend, but I was looking like one of the smartest guys in the room, buying into them before all the wins, because I was like, I'm a believer now in this guy. Chris Curry, head coach.
Congrats, Noah.
Good job. No, a funny idea here for Jack. Have you guys ever seen Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler?
I heard it was stressful.
No?
I lose enough bets in real life. I didn't need to watch a movie about a guy losing bets.
I'm not a movie guy. I watch a lot of sports.
He's like a degenerate gambler, and he takes it's like this rare crystal that Kevin Garnett gives him, and he turns it into like a pawn shop for cash, and he places a parlay that's like Kevin Durant wins the tip off, KG over 31.5 points, rebounds, assists. It's like 5 ridiculous things that he puts on a Kevin Garnett parlay because Kevin Garnett gave him some kind of championship ring or something. And we should do that with Jack's parlay of it's going to be a 3-game series in Fayetteville. There will be 1+ benches clearing brawls. There'll be 3+ soundbite clips from post-game interviews. What else did you add in there?
3 shotguns.
Whoa. I'm making a graphic.
3 shotguns.
Parlay.
Make the graphic and make it plus.
Yeah, 3 shotguns in the hog pen. That's like minus 400. Let's be completely honest. One
minus 1,000.
1 bench is clearing altercation because we know our baseball guys are never going to actually throw hands. We're going to go 2
5+ bat flips.
Oh, that's a fantastic.
Wait.
Yes.
3 shotguns in the pen,
Yep.
1 bench clearing. Can we define bench clearing?
Altercation. Because, that no one's going to hit anybody. But they're coming out, on the field, for sure.
Yeah, bullpens are running in from the
Dave Van Horn comes out. Yeah,
I say no bullpens. The bullpens is, you really got to be angry.
All right, number 3.
I'd like 2 ridiculous sound bites from coaches and post-game pressers. I don't need to define it because I think you all know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
I like 5.5 bat flip, over 5.5 bat flips. And I'm talking at least 2 to 3 revolutions. I think we also add 1 Liam Doyle FU moment, which I think has to either equal the one that we saw at Lindsey Nelson last weekend, where he's literally on the mound going crazy.
Dimitri, I know you talked about this on the last show, how arced his back got. You need to Photoshop a limbo stick where Liam Doyle is going under.
Love it.
Hey, Ben, what did you mention that Jack said? I love that idea. Backflip?
Bat flips.
Bat flips.
Oh, backflip.
Bat flip.
Yeah. Well, a backflip.
Mhm.
Anyone does a backflip.
And he's also predicting a 3-game series.
So we all won all the games.
Mm-hmm.
He wants 27 innings.
All right, so we got.
Let's throw in a conventional. Hey, let's throw in some a Fisher Aloy home run prop on the weekend is going to be plus 300, but we're going to take that too because the stars are shining.
Can we also add a couple other ones that I can totally picture
I have
happening?
an idea too.
Over 2.5 fist fights in the stands.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yep.
Wait, but we
Fist fights
can't
in
get
the-
visual confirmation because ESPN is soft and they're not going to show it.
Well,
Jack
you're going to have a guy with a pencil that is allowed to break.
Dude, oh my God! If someone gets their ass beat, can you pick them up and go? So how'd you feel?
Yeah. Well, all kidding aside, 2.5 is going to happen. If one video is captured on video by this guy, one real fight, that's going to be massive for the brand. Massive.
All right, so one captured fist fight
by yours truly.
I have.
And then, wait, I have one more, Noah. There will be a fan that runs on the field and they have to stop the game. Like some fan is going to get obliterated.
That's where we lose.
They're going to get hammered. And
here's the deal. This is hypothetically investing with Ben in the past. This is where we lose the parlay. And when we don't put it in, right? If you opt not to put this in, Dimitri, everyone listening at home is going, of course, that's when it happens. So you have to write it down now. You have to write it down because someone's running on the field. And by the way, in the 27th inning on Monday, if no one's done it yet, your boy will do it, Big Ben. I'll do it.
Well, hold on.
The last leg of the parlay, you got to run out there.
In Fayetteville, in the regional or super regional against NC State, it was, or I don't remember who it was when the raccoon was in the stand.
Possum.
And the Arkansas guy just grabbed them. Hook it out.
Okay, one rare animal sighting.
No. You either. I think the
one animal extraction.
One.
Yeah,
something exotic. But you guys really think a fan is going to go on the field?
Well, I didn't, but now we have to.
No. All right. So
Speaking of animal extraction, there was a black cat that ran on the field between Rhode Island and Dallas Baptist on Friday night in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
That was great.
It was the ghost of George Mason past haunting the head.
All right. Here's the uncut gem brought to you by Jack DeLongchamp.
I have a prop I want to put in.
No's got to have one.
Over 5.5 call on the Hogs for Jack during mound visits.
That's going to happen a zillion times, right?
Well, yeah, we've already got a couple of -1000s in there.
Yeah. Get that one in there. But make it 8.5. I want to clean 9. Let's get that thing up to an alternate line.
Yeah, we've got 6 mound visits per game.
Yeah.
And if they take half of them, now you get the 9. If they go 3, 3, and 3.
All right. Here we go. 3 shotgun. 1 bench clearing altercation, very softly defined.
Yeah.
Van Horn comes out of the dugout. Vitello comes out of the dugout. It's just some sort of altercation. 2 sound bites post game. This meaning a jab at the other team.
Ridiculous.
Yep. All right. 5.5 bat flips on the weekend.
That's good. That's great.
Dude, that's plus 1,000.
That's great.
Liam Doyle, fuck you moment.
Fantastic. That's probably -300.
3-game series.
Good.
A fan fight.
Yep. Love. Well, I'll capture it on video by me.
Yep. Captured on video. A fan on the field.
Where we get juicy.
I don't think we should publicize that because then somebody's actually going to do it because we put up
that. We shouldn't put that one in there.
No, call me a pussy, but I don't think we
should
be
Stop the show.
I don't think that we should be the reason why somebody's running onto the field.
Yeah, that's no show. On 11.7. That's a good
then 8.5 call the Hogs.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So replace running on the field with Noah's P-bomb. Some player calls another player a P-bomb. That's happening for sure.
I mean, I feel like that happens every day.
That might happen in that same Liam Doyle sentence.
Yeah. A lot of these could actually intertwine.
Good. All right, Jack. Make your picks. Quick fire. Chris Berman, 60 seconds.
Where do we want to start, friends? Let's go right up the road to Tobacco Road. Or the Duke Blue Devils hosting their first ever super regional with a chance to go to Omaha for the first time, but will they be able to beat the other guys to a finish line because the racers are running fast? It's Murray State, it's Duke, and the magical run, I don't want to say comes to an end because nobody saw Duke doing this. Give me Lou, who I think we've got some receipts from early on in the season from 11.7, and his prediction to get Duke to Omaha. I've got Duke in 2 games. I think they're too big, too strong, too fast. Now, we head up the road, Tobacco Road. North Carolina, Arizona. I know Ben is wearing that absolutely gorgeous pullover. But Arizona, man, the Cacti, they run dry. North Carolina gets back to Omaha. They might have one of the most talented rosters in all of college baseball. They ride that high right back into Omaha. Could this be the year that we see Chapel Hill and the Tar Heels hoist a trophy? Ben, last year, he and I kind of forgot that they've never won one before. Can you be a college baseball blue blood without a national championship? North Carolina, do they have the ability to put it to end? I think they get back to Omaha. LSU, West Virginia. This is where things get a little bit dicey. Do you bet with your heart? My grandpa, tattooed on my chest, the Mountaineer in 1973, a team going back to a super regional for twice in a row. LSU is just too good at a 3-game set. I think they've got a better chance to beat them if they were in Omaha or heck, even in a regional with West Virginia. Anderson, Ianson cannot be beat. They will not be beat. LSU, Jay Johnson, back to Omaha for the first time since 23 when they won the damn thing. How many far? Am I 4 in? We're hanging out. We're doing good. We're 4 in.
Ben, you're muted.
Who am I forgetting? Okay, Oregon State, Florida State. This is nothing personal to Knowles Nation. I think Link Jarrett is sneakily one of the most underrated coaches in the country right now. I don't think he's underrated because he went to Omaha last year and everyone loves talking about him. But damn, what he's done with this program and as fast as he has is insanely impressive. But not so fast. Oregon State was using pens for interviews back in September. A phone call that changed the entire narrative of how I viewed Beaver Nation. 1907, that stadium was built. They're about to party like it's 1999. Oregon State to Omaha. Ava Arquette becomes a household name by next week. Love it. Give me the Beavs. Shout out Los Beavs. Make a gif with these other 3 knuckleheads. Who am I forgetting, boys? I've got the Arkansas, Tennessee. We're betting on the big crazy Parlizzle.
Auburn,
UCLA,
Pick with
UTSA.
Coastal.
Okay.
UTSA, UCLA, Coastal, Auburn.
Okay.
Louisville,
Yes.
Miami.
Save my mid-majors best for last. Let's go with UTSA and UCLA. Did you guys know that Rock Chalowski is #1 in the country in wins above replacement? #1 in DRS, defensive run saves based off the 643 charts information. He's that good offensively and defensively, but the Roadrunners do not give a shit. Pat Hallmark says, you know what? I'm hard to play for. I'm hard to coach with. It's just like the Michael Jordan doc. Don't you guys remember the Bulls doc where they all talk shit about him? He's like, I don't really care as long as you win. It was on their broadcast. And this is really more so a prideful thing. Ben says I've tainted and ruined every team's chances to go win this thing this year. Well, I was on a broadcast for the Roadrunners. We did about 9 or 10 player interviews. Can they dispel the Jack DeLongchamp mush curse? Give me the Roadrunners. Now, let's go to Auburn. We have slept on Wardam all season long. All year long. Ike Irish is a monster. Cooper McMurray is a beast. Consider me sleeping beauty. I'm going to continue to keep sleeping. I took Coastal Carolina to get to Omaha, and I'll re-rack them. It was balls back, house rules. I hit that cup. I wanted all 7 cups back, and I said, Quiggs, I'm all in. All in, Chanticleer Nation. I think the pitching is just honestly too good. I think this is going to be best on best, mano-a-mano, foot in the bucket in the middle of the ring, one of the best offenses. Chris Rambert, maybe the most slept-on freshman in the country, leading the SEC in homers for Auburn, versus one of the best pitching staffs in the country. Pitching always wins this time of year. So I'll take Coastal, and I've got UTSA, so my 2 mid-majors are still in. Oops, hashtag not a shtick. And I think our final matchup is
Miami, Louisville.
And Miami, Louisville. This is good because everything tells you that Dan McDonnell's going back. He was the first $1 million head coach in college baseball history. Million. Ben and I are constantly hunting commas. He found it early. Well,
Yeah.
I got to tell you, there's a young man who's going to have a couple commas in his bank account this time next year. I think Daniel Cuvée becomes another folklore legend this year in Omaha. Charles Schwab Field cannot hold him. My main man, Will Smith, the fireman, a former mayor of Coastal Carolina the last 6 years. He's a fellow grandpa. He's running it down in Coral Gables. Let's get weird. The Caniac Canes will take Miami. And that's your Chris Berman. Whoop! Fastest. That was good, Noah.
Hey, one thing. It's Cardiac King, not Caniac King.
No, that's where you're wrong. That's where you're wrong. The NIL Canes money is going to start flowing down to South Beach. I'm a Caniac, double Texas toast, get rid of the slaw. That's exactly what's going to happen to Miami when they win this thing this year. They're going to go, oh, NIL works for football for our dog shit team that can't win. But it will work for baseball. They're going to start building powerhouses. And the year of the Riz God continues. Dimitri's going to get his team to Charles Schwab Field. His professional Italian team is going to have to let him go for the weekend to watch his Canes win a natty. Why not?
Hey, speaking of NIL in Miami, they just need to call the Medellin cartel, get the cocaine flowing back into Miami, and all the players will get paid.
So hold on. We had a problem with having people run on the field, but we've got zero issue calling the Cocaine Cowboys to start funding the NIL world.
That's what I'm saying. The Cocaine Cowboys collective in Miami will be great again.
Stop it.
I think that's my burner account. I think that's my new burner account. Cocaine Cowboys Collective, the official NIL sponsor of the Miami Hurricanes.
You're pulling a Barstool with a
Just
burner.
call it C3.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Jack,
Oh, boy.
you just nailed it. Chris Berman, please take a seat. We have a new 60-second king.
I feel good. Do you guys want to roast it before I leave?
I have no quibble.
You have no qualms?
Quibble.
Ben, are you gonna,
Nothing I want to roast to your face. I'll
Yeah,
wait
you
till
have
you
the,
leave.
Ben, do you have
And
the
then-
balls to fade every single one of my picks?
I
You know,
prefer.
the problem is I wanted to
I
rock.
prefer.
I think I agree with 6 of your 8.
Loved
which is
all.
bad.
Of all of them.
I prefer to shit talk people when they're not face to face to me. You know, like I like to do it
Oh, yeah.
online through a keyboard. Feel like I'm a warrior. That's how I prefer to do it.
I know.
No, you just scream, stop the show, and then talk shit.
I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna end it.
I'm gonna end it. That's how. I'm not kidding. I was
Hey,
there was a point
and-
in time over regional weekend where I almost sent that text like 37 times.
And by the way, I wasn't on the regional recap episode, but that video is forever going to be stored away. The Pissy Pants video, though, is still alive.
yeah. And can we talk about
going
this?
to end this weekend.
Can I talk about this before we bounce? How about if you go check out DraftKings? Shout out to DraftKings. You guys are idiots for not calling us. DraftKings has got Tennessee with the 3rd best odds to win this damn thing. First best odds is LSU. Second best odds is Arkansas. So like whoever wins that series is going to skyrocket to like 2 to 1, right? If they win this series, it's crazy.
Yeah, they're basically calling this series the national championship before the national championship, which is crazy. That's how big it is.
Yep. That is
All right, man. Go ahead and hit that lead button.
All right. 11.7
Don't hit the end stream button. Don't hit that one.
I know. 11.7 fans, I love you dearly. You're truly the reason that we do this, and I love you a ton. If I see you in Arkansas, please stop and say hello. It's been really cool to get to meet a lot of you. And whatever they say when I jump off, just know it's all bullshit and not true. Love you guys.
All right, see you, Jack.
Did he say everything?
Oh, thank
Did he
God.
say everything we say about him is bullshit? I think he's the greatest flops on the ground reporter.
Yeah, that's
He's the worst.
So essentially saying he's the worst.
I mean, there's only one of
Yep.
them, so he can be the best and the worst. No other reporters out there in flip flops. So
Oh, dude, I have a shtick that's waiting. I'm gonna be the pen guy with flops.
be
All
the
right, let's
pen
get
guy
into
with
the,
like
Super
winter
Regional.
boots.
Timberland.
Uggs.
Noah, what if I told you that you're going to lead us off on all 8 Super Regionals? Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, I could do that.
Or do you want to go last?
No, I can lead off if you want me to. How do you?
It's up to you.
No, I can lead off if you'd like me to. How do you want me to pick the games, with heart or with brain?
I want you to do all of your research that you've done so that I can come in with less research and more heart picks, gut
Okay.
picks, and I can dunk on you because I'm usually the one that goes first and I get dunked on all the time. So I want to be
So it's
dunking this
basically
week.
just a weekend pick 'em. We've got 8 series. It's one of the jumbo weeks.
Yep.
All right,
All right. Noah, me, then Ben.
it's fine by me.
Sure. And when we make these picks, we got to do it in how many games too.
Yeah, I like
Oh,
that.
really?
Fair?
I'm kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
I haven't checked the market yet today, but in years past, we've gotten like how many game, like will the super regionals go? You can either pick 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet this year, which is kind of disappointing. But Louisville, Miami, guys, not sure who predicted this super regional, but I do think it's pretty interesting that Louisville hasn't lost a home series all year. They went 5-0 in ACC home series. I think they went 8-0 the entire season at Jim Patterson.
Yeah, them and Auburn have
Correct.
not lost a home
Correct.
series this year. Both hosting super regionals.
Yeah,
Really cool.
and something that I quoted kind of in the middle of their regional run, Dan McDonnell pre-regional said that he thought his pitching staff was the healthiest they've been all year long since opening weekend. And I saw that team opening weekend, and Patrick Forbes goes out there, gets double-digit strikeouts against Texas, and they look good. They went 2-3 in Arlington. The pitching, the starting rotation for Louisville of Patrick Forbes, Tucker Biven, and Ethan Eberle went so well that the bullpen really didn't get tested. This was a team that came into the weekend with a team ERA of like 5.76, I think is what I texted Dimitri, and they gave up 5 total runs the entire weekend, which is insanely impressive.
I thought ERA was runs allowed per weekend. Ha 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 ha. That was a grandpa joke.
I thought Louisville was super, super impressive, and I think that the offense is stronger top to bottom in the lineup than Miami's. So Louisville's my pick, but I want to acknowledge that Miami, the way they pitched it, especially AJ Siskar and Griffin Hughes, first 2 games, if you demand control of the game script with Siskar and Hughes, and then you're able to deploy some of that bullpen weapons that you have early on in positive game scripts, they can be able to. Their best way of taking the series is in 2 games. I really do believe that. And Siskar pitched outstanding against Alabama. Hughes went 9 complete game against Columbia. Very impressive weekends. And then we all know Daniel Cuvée, but outside of him in that lineup, they actually did well at, in my opinion, at kind of protecting him in the lineup. You know, they intentionally, I think it was Columbia, intentionally walked him twice. Dorian Gonzalez takes some yah both times. That was huge, and they just need to continue to be able to, you know, not make this a one-man wrecking crew offensively. And if they're able to do that, they can be able to take some of these games. But that's my biggest kind of matchup advantage in this series, is that I think Louisville, top to bottom of that order, they're able to do more damage. The Cardinals, going back to Omaha, and if it was heart pick, I'd also be taking the Cardinals for what it's worth. It's gonna be my first time in Omaha, Nebraska for the College World Series. I'm rooting for kind of nostalgic, but also my rooting interests as well, just who I look forward to cover most. I know Miami is your more historical program, but Louisville, I grew up, like, you guys are gonna hate me for this, but
No.
Brendan McKay was like one of the first names that I knew of college baseball. And I was hooked on Louisville in like 2013, 2014, 2015 area. And yeah, I like the Cardinals a lot.
No, you're 100%. Louisville and TCU were Omaha mainstay in the late 2010. It was Louisville every year. You had your the Birdie brothers. You had McKay. You had Henry.
Reed Detmers is sick.
Detmer. You had your Greek lefty hitter. What's his name?
Yeah, my strength is definitely from like My strength is definitely from like 2021 on. I can name the 7 hitters on a lot of teams nowadays, but yeah, you guys have me totally outclassed on the early stuff.
Yeah, so Louisville was a mainstay for any of the listeners that are new to college baseball. Louisville was a mainstay. Regionals ran through Jim Patterson Stadium. You guys are about to see what Louisville's all about. Last year, they've had a couple rough patches, but Jim Patterson Stadium is going to be a sea of red and very, very loud. I hope people understand that place is rocking when it comes to super regional.
There's going to be a couple of parking lot bombs, that's for sure.
I'm really excited to watch Miami play there. Obviously, I'm going to pick Miami. I think Dorian Gonzalez, Renzo Gonzalez, Daniel Cuvée, you can go they play their asses off this weekend, but the pitching is what saved them this weekend. So I'm going to go Miami because I'm a Hurricane, but it's going to be really difficult to win that series, especially with Louisville pitching as well as they are now.
Yeah. So this was like one of the tougher regionals for me to pick, right? And I think a lot of it has to do with like which direction is the wind going to be blowing. Because at Jim Patterson, like sometimes you'll get late summer if they're hosting a regional or a super regional, the wind will be blowing out like 15, 20
You're
miles
right.
an hour. And if that's the case, like it's kind of a toss up where I would lean Miami in that situation. I think Miami has more velocity on the mound and guys that have sharper stuff. But if the wind is not blowing or if it's blowing in, I really like this Louisville team. They have three guys with a batting average over 300 and 30 plus stolen bases, so they can beat you in like a ton of different ways. Like Lucas Moore might be like one of the more underrated guys
Yeah.
in the country. He's got almost 50 stolen bases this year, and he's hitting like 370. So him at the top of the order, like he can do like a walk or a single turns into a double, maybe even a triple pretty quickly. And if they're playing from ahead, like they're going to keep putting their foot on the gas, just Louisville style of baseball. So I do like Louisville. I think it's going to be a 3-game series. Miami, I don't remember which one of you said it. Miami's best shot is to get this series over in 2. That third game heavily favorites Louisville. So I'll take Louisville in 3 games.
And I want to say this before we move on too. I know I credited like the health of the pitching staff, but also Matt Klein being healthy. That's like an experienced catcher for Louisville. I believe he's a senior, and he got injured the last game that he played was March 22nd. So if you were to take from the beginning of the year to March 21st, and then he pinch hit in the pit game in May 20th, but he was behind the plate for the Nashville regional. Do you know in the 23 games what Louisville's record is with Matt Klein? I'm assuming catching.
I don't know if I saw something or whatever, but I think they were like 19-4.
19-4. 19-4. And I don't know team ERA like with that, but you know, when he went down, I know there were some injuries as well, but also you don't have that, you know, your catcher calling pitches the entire fall, the winter, the pitchers have been working with that guy the entire year. And then all of a sudden that changes and that kind of throws off the entire staff. So yeah, him being reinserted just in time for the regional, I think also helped the pitching. So I'm going Louisville.
Hey, one more player to keep an eye on. He didn't have the greatest year, but he came in with a lot of hype preseason. Zion Road for Louisville. He's an athletic player. He can do it all. I think he's a 5-2 player defensively, hitting, and speed on the bases. He didn't have his greatest year, but I think he's a dynamic player for Louisville.
Yeah, he didn't have the year that he maybe was billed up for having, but I'll take a 320, 975 OPS season any year.
Yeah.
He might be one of those parking lot bombs that we're talking about.
Yeah. Protect your windshields. I know Jackie Bradley Jr. lost a windshield this
Next one.
in the Auburn regional. Let's talk about Oregon State, Florida State. This one is, if it's not the one in Fayetteville, it's this one as like the most tightly contested, most anticipated super regional series. Definitely the most on the left side of the bracket, I think, for me. I can't get over this one matchup. I sent you guys a screenshot of me doing some research. Florida State's got those 3 lefties in that starting rotation that have been incredible for them the entire year long. The bullpen's been a little bit of a hole, but in that regional, the bullpen was actually really good. 9 scoreless innings. I think it was no walks as well. Just 5 hits, something like that in the 9 bullpen innings of the regional. But 3 southpaws. I don't know how they're going to trot him out. Joey Vellini went on Friday, didn't throw a lot of pitches because of the rain delay against Bethune-Cookman, but it could be Vellini and then Jamie Arnold and then Wes Mendez. Either way, that's a really good matchup for Florida State against Oregon State. Oregon State against right-handed pitching, batting 309 with a 960 OPS. Oregon State's lineup against left-handed pitching, batting 254 with an 832 OPS. There is nobody, no X factor, no key player more important to me in a series this weekend than Trent Carraway. This is a guy that also necessarily didn't have his season that he was really looking forward to. He was one of the top prospects that passed up the draft, chose to come to Oregon State, and he hits a home run in every single game of the regional. He's going to be that big right-handed stick, kind of right outside the middle of the order. That's where we've been the entire year. I think he moved up like 6 in the order this weekend in the regional. That would be huge if he's able to come through early in games, because Oregon State needs to get Florida State to – they can't allow them to shorten these games for their bullpen arms, because Florida State really wants to use Joe Charles and they really want to use John Abraham. If they have to go any further than that in the bullpen, that's where it gets kind of sketch. And Oregon State's got the pitching depth, but I don't know if they have that top-tier talent in the weekend rotation that's going to get them a Game 1 W. Dax Whitney's been very polarizing as a prospect here in his freshman year. Ethan Kleinschmidt's been the steady high-floor guy. But going up against Jamie Arnold, I don't know if there's a guy that you circle that we can go out there and get a win with him on the mound. I'm going to go Florida State because of that starting rotation.
To build off of all the things you just said, you're not accounting for one thing. Goss Stadium is going to be electric, loud, like early 2000, mid 2000 vibes. Like that regional was the most highly attended regional for Oregon State since like early 2000, late 1990s.
Yeah.
Something is back with them. I don't know what clicked for the community to show out for them. I think it's going to be the Iva Arquette versus the Alex Lodi show. I think it's going to come down to who outperformed the other to win the series, because I think they're pretty even across the board. I think they've got a lot of pieces very similar. But I got to go with the home. I'm not going to fade the facility here. I got to go Oregon State at home. Like they've already had bitter taste their last home regional with the Auburn, I think it was. They lost that regional, and man, I think Florida State traveling 500 bazillion miles out there. Oregon State's got the advantage. So give me the Beavs.
Well, Noah, I kind of hate you right now because I was very sold on picking Oregon State to win this Super Bowl. When you brought up the lefty-righty splits, it does have me worried because Florida State's going to trot out a lot of left-handed pitching. But I did wear my Los Beavs hat for a reason. And this is a purely gut pick now. But when I close my eyes and think, like, all right, who can I see advancing out of this super regional? I picture Goss Stadium and like how electric it's going to be. I picture guys that are going to be those superstars we're going to see in Omaha, and it's the same guys that we saw the last 4 games in that Corvallis regional. And I really do think that there's going to be a big moment here where Ava Arquette does come up clutch. Maybe
it's Iva, by the way. It's Iva
Arquette. And be that number 1 prospect that we're kind of lacking this year in college baseball. I'm going to go with the Beavers, but I'm going to this is my prediction. I think Florida State wins game 1, and then Oregon State comes in the next 2 games, and we'll see a big relief performance because I'm pretty sure Nelson Keljo's in the bullpen now, right? Yeah, he'll throw 5 or 6 innings out of the bullpen in an elimination game. I don't know. Give me the Bees.
He's been out of the bullpen for quite a few series in a row in the back half of the year. But Segura's start against that was St. Mary's wasn't the greatest. Didn't get out of the first inning. So I don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to, show the belief in Segura and trot him out there again in some capacity in the weekend rotation. I honestly think they should go Whitney game 1, Kleinschmidt game 2, figure out game 3 afterwards. Because, that would be the way that I wouldn't want to have a super regional series and not be able to throw Kleinschmidt. I think you have to throw him.
You have to, right?
He's your highest floor starter. I will say for heart pick for me, like, again, first Omaha that I'm going to be out there, 2018 Oregon State. That team was loaded. I was a big fan of that group. But also Link Jarrett with Notre Dame. I became a huge fan of him, rooting for a Northern Ball team in the College World Series, and I was riding him to beat Tennessee in the Super Regional. That happened too. So, big fan of Link, big fan of Oregon State's program. I sent Los Beeves. I shouldn't have done this, but I sent him a picture of me watching the games on Sunday. I wore an Oregon State shirt because they were up against elimination. So I was like, I need Oregon State to, win this regional. So I was wearing the shirt. He was DMing me on Twitter, and I just sent him a picture. I was like, watching the regional games with my shirt. And, he's going to be using that in a bunch of video memes from now moving forward. So
he's been on an all-time heater. What's cool is we might see in the first, like the left side of the bracket for the College World Series, like it could be a Florida State-Miami first-round matchup, which would be cool. We could also see later down the line a North Carolina versus Oregon State in the College World Series, and potential for an Arkansas versus Oregon State rematch.
That was my prediction. Before regionals, I predicted Oregon State, Arkansas, and Arkansas gets their first national title.
Yep. We could also see, looking ahead, a Tennessee-Florida State national championship, which we all remember last year with the Czech.
Yep.
Maybe get some revenge.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and Arizona. Where do we begin in this one other than just guys that completely took over their regionals? Gavin Gallagher goes 13-16 in the regional, I believe it was, just absolutely unconscious. Puts him on their back, and that's 2 years in a row now that he's had an outstanding regional performances. North Carolina's offense has really been sticking it during the back half of the season, but we were talking about them possibly switching in some postseason baseballs. That was one of the things that Ben and I were speculating, and even Dimitri as well. I'm not going to leave him out of there. Also, the warmer weather, helping the ball travel a little bit. Arizona entered the regional weekend like 53rd out of 64 and just home runs on the entire year. And then they blast 14 of them in a weekend, 13 in 2 games. That offense is rolling right now. It definitely looks really good with Aaron Walton sandwiched in between Brennan Summerhill and Mason White, to be able to have a power right-hander that hits for good average in between their best 2 pro prospects right now. That is definitely a plus. But, man, I don't know if there's a better 1-2 punch on the left side of the bracket than Jake Knapp, Jason DeCaro. And Arizona's going to have to figure something out, because right now Smith Bailey is kind of their Ethan Kleinschmidt of Oregon State, where I don't think you want to go a weekend series and not throw that freshman that can go out there and win you a game. Raul Guerrezar has been great. He's got like a sub-3 ERA. He was a reliever in the beginning of the year, midweek starter, but he's been great as their number 2. But I think you got to throw Smith Bailey in the beginning of a game here in this super regional. I'm going to go North Carolina. I just think they're going to be able to dictate the game throughout the beginning of these things. It's tough because this was my 2 favorite teams in the preseason to win the national championship. I have 2 preseason tickets on both of these teams. I'm going to go with North Carolina. I just think that they are.
Why do you keep doing this?
Why
do you keep doing this?
I think they're at home. This is another super regional where
Oregon was at home too.
but I'm going to go North Carolina. Arizona.
No.
Arizona, prove me
World.
wrong.
Noah.
Once again, prove me wrong.
You spouted off to the world preseason that Arizona was your national championship pick, and you have a ticket on them to win the College World Series, and you even doubled down after they sucked the first weekend in Arlington.
Yeah.
And you're going to do the same thing you did last week, not even picking Arizona.
I'm not even going to help him. I'm going to let him do it.
I had North Carolina winning the tournament, pre-tournament too. I'm sticking with it. The Tar Heels are the pick.
All right. Well, you're not allowed to claim Arizona from this point forward. That's the rule. Same rule as last week. Why do you keep doing this? You could be Arizona's number one fan.
I didn't choose the draw. I didn't choose the draw. These are my two favorite preseason teams going up against each other. The two teams that I was the highest on in the preseason. So.
And what did last weekend teach you?
That Arizona didn't have to play Oregon to get into this position.
All right. Well, you just made my pick a whole lot harder now. I was going Carolina, but I kind of want to go to Arizona now.
Hey, Dimitri, right?
Arizona and Phil's offense prove me wrong once again.
I love North Carolina. I was riding North Carolina, but now I think I'm going to go Arizona. I think Arizona hits 25 home runs this weekend now. Noah, why are you doing this? Because I love North Carolina. I love DeCare. I love Knapp.
Jump on the party.
Jump on Walker McDuffie out of the bullpen. I love
jump on the train with me. There's nothing
wrong
wrong
with
with
joining
joining
no. I know how this goes. I'm going Arizona. Dude, why? Noah? Why?
Yeah, I'm going Arizona too. And it's I'm going Arizona too, not only because I'm wearing the home field pullover, but I think that after what they did last week and even the week before winning the Big 12 tournament, this Arizona team, like on paper, does not look great statistics-wise, but they do have those pro prospects that can win the game in one swing of the bat for the most part. I think it has to get done in 2 games, though. The depth that North Carolina has is not the same depth that Arizona has. I'll take Arizona in 2 games, and a lot of this is just solely because Noah will not pick.
God, Noah, take Arizona so we can take North Carolina.
I know that's how that works, but gosh,
I
like North Carolina. I like North Carolina. Arizona to Ben's. I think Ben was getting there, but didn't quite say it. Like they kind of fit his hot, cold, hot.
You know what, Ben?
In a cold, hot way.
I can totally see it now. Arizona's going to win. Noah's going to be like, dude, like whatever. And we're going to be like, we told you, but now we get to ride with Arizona.
This is something I have written in my notes right here. Everybody on social media and their moms has North Carolina winning this series. And every year there's a huge upset. And it's not even like that big of an upset, but every year there's a big upset with a super regional where everybody just chalks it up like, oh, North Carolina will win or whatever. I think this could be the one where there's more people on Murray State this week on social media than there is Arizona. I'll put it to you that way.
I think you're right. I think it's either the 2 Big 12 teams. One of the Big 12 teams are going to Omaha. Arizona and West Virginia. Nobody's picking them.
Nobody's picking, and it's funny because we have like Coastal, who's a mid-major, we have UTSA, who's a mid-major, and we have Murray State, and a lot of people are picking those 3, but everybody's leaving out West Virginia at Louisiana or LSU. And
I love my Arizona pick now. No, I can't wait for you to eat shit. You're gonna eat so much shit.
You're not allowed. You are not allowed to claim Arizona.
You can go ahead and take your futures bet, put it in an envelope, and send it to Ben.
Hey, another storyline. The first round matchup could be Arizona versus Coastal in the College World Series, which is a rematch of 2016.
All right. Well, Noah,
we're basically
go ahead
and
take your futures slip, put it in an envelope, lick it, seal it, and send it to Ben.
I have one on both teams, so.
You're throwing one out the window.
It was tough, yeah. I was losing one either way this weekend, unfortunately. I didn't choose the draw.
Which one is juicier?
Arizona 1,000%. I should be riding with Arizona, but I'm not.
Because you're soft.
No, because I just think that North Carolina is going to win at home.
All right, next one.
Next one. Final one on the left side of the bracket here is Auburn, Coastal Carolina. All year I've doubted this Auburn team, and they're making me eat shit, quite frankly. The offense here is, the most consistent thing I think we've seen. They've played the toughest schedule in not only the SEC, but the country. They have the number one strength of schedule. And when we're talking about like my heart picks, I know I was talking North Carolina, Arizona. I wouldn't be disappointed with one of those teams getting there or the other. Same with Auburn, Coastal. I'm getting a Michigan stud, Ike Irish from Southeastern Michigan, or Jacob Morrison, also from the west side. That would be really cool that I get to go down there and watch one of those studs from the mitten play. I think that, Coastal Carolina has the better weekend rotation, but it's nothing that Auburn hasn't seen this year, I don't think. They've seen, the stuff, the velocity, the strike throwing that Coastal Carolina is going to bring to this Auburn regional. And Auburn hasn't lost a home series all season long. I think that you've got the two big lefties going up against this entire right-handed pitching staff of Coastal Carolina, and Ike Irish and Cooper McMurray. I think they're going to be a little bit of an issue for the Chanticleers. So I'm going to go Tigers at Plainsman Park. I'm giving in. I'm bending the knee.
Hey, you keep bringing up having a loss of series at home all year. What do you think? How do you think Notre Dame felt about that? Do you think Notre Dame gave a shit that Tennessee hadn't lost a series at home all year?
No, I'm trying to think of how I thought Notre Dame was, because I picked them in the regionals. So I don't know. I don't know what I used there as the angle.
Interesting. Well, Auburn fans have been giving us hell on the Twitter mention all weekend.
Yep.
And you know what? You know how I feel about that? When you're riding the high horse and you talk a lot of shit on the high horse, I want to see what you do on the low horse when you lose. I'm taking Coastal Carolina.
Don't you pre-show. Don't flip your pick.
You just did it, huh?
I want Auburn fans to eat their words because they gave us hell. And hey, I tip my cap. We didn't pick you. We faded you. We took Stetson or NC State, whatever. You have every right to come at us and say we don't know ball. But I really want to will this Coastal team back to Omaha. But I think Auburn wins.
Well, then pick Auburn if you think Auburn's
I
going to
just don't want to. I just don't want to ride with Auburn.
I will quote you from pre-show. You were like, "Wow, Coastal Carolina hasn't played a Power 4 team in the last 22 games or whatever."
They played one.
You also said like, look at their schedule.
You know what? Give me Auburn.
Thank you, because that was what I had all of my points built around, was you pre-show. So, boys, let me read off a list for you. 11.7 preseason Sun Belt champion pick, not Coastal Carolina. Regular season Sun Belt championship pick from 11.7, not Coastal Carolina. That was right before conference play started. Sun Belt tournament pick from 11.7, nobody picked Coastal Carolina. Mid-major coach of the year, not Coach Schnall. Mid-major pitcher of the year, not Jacob Morrison. Conway regional pick from 11.7. Nobody picked
I picked Coastal. Yeah,
Oh,
you guys left me out of that last show.
On the graphic.
Yeah, none on the graphic.
Yeah, nobody picked Coastal. Boys, we might control Coastal Carolina's destiny here. All right? And wow, is this going to really piss off Coastal Carolina fans?
I think it's going to piss off Auburn fans, because we're jumping onto.
No, but like, no context. If a Coastal Carolina fan doesn't listen to the show, they're going to be like, these guys are picking against us again. We, at no point this year, the only time we had a Coastal Carolina image on a graphic this year was when we repicked our 8 for Omaha. Jack did pick Coastal Carolina as his mid-major. That was the only time that Coastal Carolina has ever been on a
Nope.
graphic from
We
11.7.
we also picked Troy when Coastal and Troy played each other.
We did. We all
Which
picked
they won
Troy
the
in the
series.
weekend series pick.
And they won the series. So
They won the series. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick Auburn just so us
Yeah.
three all pick Auburn. And we're going to will Coastal Carolina back to
We
the
are
College
all
World
on the
Series.
same page here.
and
like
and Auburn fans can be in our mention. This
Yeah.
is your fault that you picked them. Well, we picked you. We thought you guys were going to be good. You guys look like shit. Your team sucked. Go
Yeah.
Coastal Carolina.
We are all on the same page.
Hey, on a side note, though, that was all for show. I do think Coastal Carolina is going to win the series. I think that Auburn might throw out 2 freshmen on the mound for game 2, game 3, right?
I think they
They'll go
made
game 1.
so Dutton threw last Saturday.
Yeah.
Chatterton has been like that game 3 starter the entire year. He didn't throw it all last weekend, I don't believe. Chatterton could go game 1, Dutton game 2, and then they'll go Alvarez game 3 or like a Cade Fisher who's been a reliever. I don't think you want to do Cam Tilley. Cam Tilley got rocked by Central Connecticut.
And then who was the name of the guy that he closed his game down? He's not a power thrower or anything. but he's a
Myers?
good- Who?
Yeah.
Carson Myers.
No, not him. Another guy.
I'm pulling up.
He closed the game out against LSU, I remember. But what's his name? What's his name?
God, like it's starts with an H, I think. I hate that you put me on the
Nope.
spot.
It's not H. It's not H. No, do you have it in front of you?
What is it?
I'm pulling it up right now. It's gonna kill me that I don't know it.
So
Like-
I think Coastal compete. What? So I think Coastal competes this series, but I just don't want to fade. I just don't want to fade Cooper McMurray and Ike Irish and Chris Rambert. I mean, I think those guys are gonna. I think it's gonna be one of those big 3-run homer to either extend a 1-run lead to 4, or they're gonna take a lead late. It's gonna be one of those situations. It's gonna be really deflating for Coastal.
Ryan Hetzler.
Hetzler. It is H. Hetzler. I like him too at the end of the game. But anyway, I want Coastal to win, but I think Auburn win. That's my stand.
They're playing at like 9 p.m.
Yeah, while Oregon
Which
State
is
plays at
crazy.
6, which is so dumb.
Yeah, and then they bring him
Yeah,
back
they're
out.
not-
I know Crutch was commenting about this. So they're going to play at 9. You know, it ends probably midnight-ish. You get back and you get settled in. You sleep at like 1 a.m. The next game the next day is like 3 p.m. Eastern. So you're going to get to the ballpark at noon.
Yeah.
No, they're not getting to bed before 3 a.m.
And that was another reason why I didn't pick Arizona. The first 2 games are at 9 a.m. local time for Arizona. That sucks.
Cal did the same thing, and they beat Miami. So
Yeah.
and then Cal did it again the next day and won again. So I don't think time matters. But I will say this, Noah. When you play a baseball game late at night, especially this high-stake game, let's just say the game finished at 12. None of those guys are asleep before 2:30 a.m.
Well, you send the starting pitcher back. You send him back in like the 5th inning, go get some rest, go to sleep.
I don't know if they'll do that, but I would.
You do it in the MLB, so
Yeah.
I would hope they do it, but who knows?
Yeah, the adrenaline has to wear off. You don't go to bed before 2-3 a.m.
Yeah.
So,
Even if
anyway,
they watch the entire game at their hotel room, you're going to sleep right after the game finishes.
So wait, Auburn's Central Time. So it's an 8 p.m. start. That's not that extra hour means a lot.
Yeah, it
right?
does mean a lot. So yeah, instead of 9 p.m. Eastern, it's 8. Yeah.
11, you're still not going to bed before 2 a.m. Because you get home, all their family's going to be there. They're going to talk to their family after the game. The bus is going to leave an hour later. They get home, they shower, they eat, or they shower at the clubhouse of the stadium. I don't know. But, yeah, they don't go to bed before 2. It doesn't matter. Auburn, we have made our pick. Next one.
All right, right side of the bracket, top right, UCLA, UTSA. We have the Roadrunners hitting, taking the flight to Southern California. Where do I want to begin with this one? UTSA, I think they are the identity of this club is I think they're very strong in a lot of facets, and they're good defensively. I think they only made 1 error in the 3 games that they played in the Austin Regional. UCLA's got an even better defense. That entire infield defense has 4 high school shortstops. I know that's typically your thing with a lot of college baseball players. They're shortstops in the infield, and when they get to the college level, they kind of get put into their position. But I think that is just an explanation of how strong they are defensively. And offensively, they looked maybe as good as I've seen UCLA's offense this year. That regional, they completely made it a little bit of a laugher the first two games specifically. Third game, they were up like 8-1 on UC Irvine. Irvine was able to dress up the score a little bit. It was like 8-5 final. But I think that UCLA gets back to Omaha. That's going to be my pick here. I'm not going to get cute with this mid-major. There's going to be one that I like a little bit more coming up. But with UCLA, I like them going Michael Barnett, Landon Stump, game 1, game 2, and being able to get this thing done. I think maybe in 2. I wish I had a better way of painting the picture for UTSA, but I'm not sure if I see that. Do you guys like San Antonio this weekend?
I'm going UCLA here. I think UCLA is really good. I've said it most of the year. Their lineup is the best I've seen it in a long time. Ben and I are so used to UCLA letting us down. Every time we get hype about them, every time we speak good about them, they let us down. But I think this team is different. I think they can hit. So when they don't pitch great the first 3, 4, 5 innings of a game, they can still hit their way back into a game. If you remember the Michigan game series, they couldn't hit for shit. Michigan would answer every time, and UCLA couldn't keep answering. They just weren't good enough to keep answering one run here, one run there. So I'm going to go UCLA here. UTSA has been an awesome story. I would not be surprised if they win. And honestly, I would be really happy. I'm going to be so happy if they make it.
Me
For
too.
Pat Hallmark, that whole team, they've been doubted. They don't have the facilities. They don't have the NIL, whatever, all that stuff. They don't have it all. And they've continued to prove everybody wrong. AAC title. Took down Big Brother, air quote, in Austin twice on their home turf and 3-0 on the season. What more do you want from this team? What more do they need to do to prove that they're a legit team? But I'm still going to fade and go UCLA.
Yeah, look, this pick is just total biased homer for me. I think UCLA is the better team, and I think that they have they have the more star power, and they're at home. But I will be picking UTSA just purely because I'm rooting for them. Like I want to see the Roadrunners go to Omaha, and like that's as simple as it can be. I think that there's like a misconception, like maybe not misconception. There's something about UTSA where, like, yeah, they beat Texas twice in their regional. They beat Texas in the midweek. They also beat Texas A&M in the midweek. But like the weekends, they have a weekend series loss to UT Arlington. They have a weekend series loss to Dallas Baptist. And it's like they play well in these high emotional games. They lost twice to Tulane on a neutral site in Clearwater. Like there's nothing on their schedule that says like, oh yeah, they'll be perfectly comfortable at UCLA. Whereas like UCLA is awesome at home. They play well, like they play their best baseball there. So like heart, I'm going UTSA. My heart pick is UTSA. Brain is saying UCLA is going to probably win this. But I loved what Pat Hallmark said in his post-game press conference where he said, yeah, we had some big studs leave us in the transfer portal, but we're here in this position because they left.
I loved that one.
Like that was such a savage remark with like, hey, they were our best pitcher and our best hitter last year, 4-year starters for both. And like, I'm glad they left because it gave these other guys opportunities and we wouldn't be there with them here.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask him if he gets to Omaha and we're able to talk to him in person. That's gonna be one thing that I ask him, whether they use that as motivation or whether he thought it was personnel, like because they were able to give other people chances. And
the way I took it was
I took it as motivation.
This guy stepped up and ended up being a really good player and had a really good year for us, who otherwise wouldn't have played that much if they would have stayed. I think he was basically just saying this guy plays so well this year. It wouldn't have happened if they stayed.
That's what I think he may say, like publicly.
I don't think he was attacking.
I wonder if they used it as motivation, though. That's my curiosity about it.
I mean, it happens all the time now. I don't think they can really use it as motivation because all those guys are thinking it. Let me go take the $100,000 NIL deal. It's not. I don't think it was motivated. I think it was just simply you left. This guy got an opportunity and he ran with it.
Yeah, I like it. I loved that quote. That was one of them that I put out this weekend that did really well, that a lot of people loved as well. So, yeah, I'm rooting for them also. Like, I would love the Roadrunners to get there. They've been so solid all year long. And, yeah, that would be huge because another quote that he was making the rounds doing some press spots, and he was asked if there's any improvements coming down the well of the facilities at all. And he's like, I hope we keep getting asked that because as of right now, no. So,
yeah,
a College World Series, that bonus that gets to the athletic department, that would help keep that.
Do they actually get a big financial bonus?
Yeah, so I know it's like tournament units. So I don't know how it works for baseball. Ben might have a better idea.
I think the conference gets a payout and then it gets split up.
Yep.
So I don't think UTSA gets a direct massive bonus.
Well, it's because of UTSA, but I think
it gets divvied up. I think it gets divvied up pretty evenly.
Yeah, but all the money that goes to UTSA, they know that was from the baseball program. So hopefully it's going back into the baseball program.
You know how those schools are. You know how those ADs are. They're slimy people. Maybe you don't know where that money goes.
Yeah. The football program has been pretty damn good over there at UTSA too. The first ever Durham host at Jack Coombs for either a regional or a super regional. How about that? There is added pressure, right, in hosting a regional and or a super regional, especially if they didn't necessarily expect that they were going to host. Now it's all kind of spur of the moment, like added on, like right now. You're getting home from Athens. You're getting home from Athens, and now you got to get the place ready, and put on a show. You got to prove that this facility is able to host these moving forward. I know that they're still renovating, but all of a sudden now you got a red hot Murray State team that didn't stop hitting the entire weekend. At least 8 runs in all 4 games that they played. Man, oh man, was that impressive. Here's the thing. They are a very solid offense against lefties, but it's a little bit of a hole against left-handed pitching that it is against right-handed pitching. Ole Miss is kicking themselves that they threw off that Hunter Elliott didn't throw in that game 1 against Murray State. Because against left-handed pitching, Murray State's only hitting 285, 915 OPS. Against righties, it's 326, 954. It's 40 points better against righties. Hunter Elliott comes in game 4, 9th inning, completely.
Can I say one thing? Did you see who Ole Miss threw against Murray State in game 7?
Yeah, they threw a lefty. It was like Holtz.
And they smacked his ass.
They did, but
smacked him.
But I don't know if he was necessarily like the
Hooks.
top lefty that Hooks, not Holtz.
Walker Hooks.
Holtz is a Florida State bullpen arm that isn't healthy right now. But yeah, Hooks. He got rocked early, like the first 3 innings. I think he gave up 5 or 6 runs. But yeah, like that's the scouting report on him, because I think in game 6 they started a left-hander, at least threw a left-hander for 3 innings against him too, and it didn't work out. But there's like 5 or 6 left-handed hitters in that order. And for Murray State, kind of the same thing as Trent Carraway. Jonathan Hogarth's been the leadoff hitter. He's been able to set the table the entire year. He's going to be huge because that's the biggest right-handed stick they have in that lineup, and he's the leadoff hitter. Because it goes Dustin Mercer, lefty, who was abusing the lines, left field line, right field line, just a doubles merchant on these line drives. And
he hit like 8 doubles.
It was insane.
Weekend, right?
It was insane. He had, I think he had like 9 or 10 extra base hits, and he was able to win most outstanding player in that Oxford regional. I was actually kind of disappointed that out of all the runs that the Racers put up this weekend, they only had 3 on the all regional team, which is kind of insane. But Duke, they've only got 2 right-handed pitchers healthy, so they're going to be trotting out left-handed arm after left-handed arm against this lineup, and I think that's a little bit of an advantage for Duke. But overall, I think that Murray State, just the relentlessness offensively, to the ability to just be able to score, put together some innings because they don't strike out. That's like the biggest strength of this team is at the plate. They aren't whiffing. And Duke, if they're not getting that strikeout, they do have a tendency of making some mistakes that pitching staff doesn't necessarily miss. They get a lot of strikeouts, but at times they're giving up big hits. I think Murray State, this is the team that I feel most comfortable with as a mid-major getting to Omaha. Give me the Racers, the 4 seed gets it done to the College World Series.
I'm just going to go ahead and say right now I'm taking Murray State. I think this was the most favorable draw they could have gotten where I'm like, okay, yeah, this team's going. Last year, Evansville had to go to Lindsey Nelson. They had to go to Knoxville. Nobody believed in them then. They got a win. They competed game 3, and then they kind of got out of hand. But if Evansville would have went to 6 out of the 6th of the other regional, super regional, they probably would have made it to Omaha.
Could have.
I think the Missouri Valley get their Omaha team this year, and I think Murray State makes it. But the only way they don't make it is if somehow that lineup goes cold. But I don't see it happening. The environment is not going to be hostile. It's not going to be a hard place for them to hit. It's a turf field, but they put a lot of balls on the ground. It travels fast. I think Murray State keeps it going, and I think they make it to Omaha.
Yeah, this is another just pure heart pick. I will be rooting very hard for Murray State this week. I'm going to take Murray State. And I'll add this. Even though they're adding some temporary bleachers down the lines and suites out in the outfield, this ballpark is very much like what Murray State is used to playing.
Yeah.
Like a cookie cutter, 330, 370, 400, all the way around. You get your grandstands directly behind home plate and then like some hills. Like it is Missouri Valley. The Missouri Valley as a whole has way nicer stadiums than this because a lot of them play in minor league parks. And then, they play against a lot of OVC teams and what's the other conference around there? Probably OVC Horizon and some of those conferences in the midweeks. So it's like, and their home stadium looks a lot like this. So I've convinced myself, I don't know if it's the right logic, but I've convinced myself they're going to be very comfortable there at Duke. And if they hit, I think they're a more offensive team than Duke, but it also, like, my brain is saying Duke's a better team. Like, they're going to get it done. They have never been to Omaha. They're due to go to Omaha. And, like, on the flip side, Duke has played in 3 super regionals.
All on the road.
And has all on the road. Vanderbilt was one.
No, Vanderbilt.
Who was
Vandy? They went to Texas, the state of Texas. What team did they play down there? Was it Tech?
I think it was Texas Tech in like 2016, I think, or 17. No, it might have been 19 actually.
Yeah, I know they played.
Yeah, but I know.
No, Vanderbilt was 19, right? They faced.
Who did
they faced Lighter Rocker.
That's right, Kumar Rocker.
They faced.
Yeah, Rocker no hit him.
Yeah. They got no hit or perfect game by Rocker almost.
Yep.
Yeah,
no hit.
Duke, they won the Oklahoma regional last year. Where did they go?
No, they didn't. They lost the.
UConn won it. UConn won it.
Yeah.
Sorry, never mind. Okay, never mind. By the way, Jack Coons Field, terrible for a Power 4 school like Duke. Their stadium is awful.
They're putting money into it, so I'm not. Yeah,
they're putting money into it, and they didn't even play their home games there for like a 5-year stretch. They played at DBAP.
Yeah.
Do you guys think they should have hosted this regional at DBAP? It's super.
No, I think it's a huge weekend for them, but it's added pressure.
Yeah,
it is. I'm gonna stand on that.
All right. Let's speed this up.
Pollard's team feels pressured. I don't think they do. I mean, Ben Miller's like my age. He's 30 years old playing college baseball.
Yeah. I wouldn't be
I
upset
don't
if
think
Duke
he's
got there because I know Coach Sikowski's from the Michigan area, and they recruit up north very well. I know Alex Mooney was in my area. I played against him a bunch, and he was a Duke stud. But also a lot of Ivy League kids transferring into Duke, and those guys would absolutely love a College World Series trip, and they've never been able to host and be able to get it done at home. So
Doesn't this feel similar to Oregon in 2023? They were the 2 seed at Vanderbilt. They win that regional and they get to
yes,
host Oral Roberts, and people are like, "Oh my God, Oregon's finally going to get to go to
yes,
Omaha."
it feels like
And they
Oregon.
hosted and they lose 2 out of 3. Yeah, so maybe we'll see history repeat itself with a 2 seed hosting for a super regional for the first time.
I like
winning.
that call out, Ben. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
LSU is hosting West Virginia in a super regional this weekend as well.
Speed this up.
What'd you say?
I said, let's try to speed this up a little bit.
Okay. LSU again, just like I said with North Carolina, best 1-2 punch in the starting pitching weekend rotation. However, we saw that if they get dragged in a little bit of mud, they needed a hero to come through, and that was Kason Evans. If he starts a game, maybe he goes, 6 really strong innings like he did against Little Rock in relief there, but we don't know. And I would love to see if West Virginia is able to get to a game 3 and force them into a situation where it's, there's a little uncertainty after what Little Rock was able to, present last weekend. And West Virginia's got a strong 3-man weekend rotation in Griffin Kern. I think we saw, I've been calling him Derek Clark the entire year, and he goes out there and does Derek Clark stuff, finishes off the 3rd game of the weekend in the regional, just like Clark did in that Tucson regional 2 years or last year. But yeah, Kern, Cartsonas, and then Gavin Van Kempen, like that 3 have been very sturdy in the weekend rotation for them. The bullpen was a little shaky again this weekend, wasn't very strong. They gave up a couple of lopsided innings, but Armani Guzman was tremendous for West Virginia this weekend, and that's a guy that hasn't really necessarily been in the lineup the entire year. West Virginia, I think, has an interesting matchup against Cade Anderson. Anderson being the southpaw, an elite southpaw, be it, but West Virginia's been one of the best offenses against left-handed pitching this year. So that's something to note. They're hitting 347 with a 972 OPS against lefties. So maybe not a given with Cade Anderson on the mound for LSU, and that's maybe the game that I think West Virginia could force a game 3 against LSU down in Baton Rouge. But ultimately, I have to go LSU if I'm trying to get this pick right, because I think that Ethan Fry had another outstanding weekend, and him at the top of the lineup. If you have Derek Coryell going, you have Jared Jones, who put out a kind of a dagger bomb in that final game against Little Rock. You get him going. Luis Hernandez had a great weekend down there. I think I go LSU, and they get the Omaha as well.
Yep, I'm going LSU here. I think people are going to say, "Oh, they got exposed against Little Rock." I think Little Rock is matched up really well, and they played their asses off and caught LSU off guard. I think it was really simple, but I do think LSU does have question marks if this thing goes to 3 games, and I think West Virginia might have the advantage if it gets to a game 3. But how can you fade Cade Anderson, Anthony Ianson? I'm going LSU at Alex Box.
Yeah, boys, we get spoiled with this one. Actually, these next 2 super regional picks, because no matter who advances, they're going to have a great showing in Omaha, like fan base wise. Everybody knows that LSU funds the restaurants and the bars in Omaha for 2 years at a time. Like they make enough money the LSU week in Omaha than they would the whole.
People are going to get surprised if Dub V goes.
That's what I'm also saying is like that fan base is hungry, wild, and they want an excuse to leave town and go to Omaha.
Sure.
Like they want to get out of town and travel, and they'll spend money.
They'll burn your couch in Omaha. Don't let them into your house. Keep an eye on that couch.
I remember talking to Coach Saban's like preseason in or maybe it was like December or January, and he felt really good about his team. And he said like, "Hey, first year head coach, I get it. we're not going to be on anybody's radar early in the year. And he's like, I hope we're not. I hope we stay lurking and we win our games and blah, blah, blah. And if I remember correctly, at the end of our conversation, he said, see you in Omaha. And I said, yes, sir, I'll be there. So I'm taking a past event and I'm
A
going to make it a
calculated
current
pick.
event. A calculated pick that maybe he knows something that we don't. I think it would be great if LSU wins this regional. I think it'd be great if West Virginia wins it. I'm banking on one of either Ianson or Anderson having an off start, and LSU like having to go to the bullpen, who got a pretty much exposed, other than Case and Evans, against Little Rock those two games. But like, it's another heart pick. I'm going West Virginia, brain pick. On paper, in logically, LSU should win this super regional. Probably 8 times out of 10. They got the better lineup. They got the better pitching. Home field is huge, but I'll fade the facility. Just give me West Virginia.
I love it.
I'm going brain pick in the Fayetteville Super Regional. We just saw this series play out 3 weeks ago, guys. Arkansas clobbered Liam Doyle, as they have left-handed pitching the entire year. This is the best offense against southpaws. 352 average, 1059 OPS. They also didn't let Marcus Phillips get out of the 5th inning. This Tennessee bullpen has had some, times where they didn't look as strong this season, especially in SEC play down the stretch of this season. Brendan Arvidsson has kind of emerged, but it has been a little shaky if you take him into the late innings and Liam Doyle or Marcus Phillips are not on the bump. And I think that Arkansas has the depth on the mound. I think that's the best group top to bottom. They necessarily don't have that ace like typical Arkansas teams do. I think they have a lot of confidence in Zach Root, but give me, Zach Root all the way down to like a Christian Fouch, Parker Coyle, Gabe Gackle in that bullpen. I think there are arms that they are extremely confident in going to in the 6th inning, and they're going to be able to, mix and match their way through a final 4 innings of a game and be able to get through and win at least 2 of 3. I think Arkansas takes the series over Tennessee. Tennessee playing deeper into the weekend, it may have helped them because they were playing in closer contentious games against like a Wake Forest. They were able to kind of let out a lot of their energy, but they can't get carried away with this down in Arkansas, because I do think that there is just that methodical business-like manner that the Razorbacks are able to play. And if they're able to dictate a lot of the game script and play from ahead, it's not what the Vols want to be, stuck in. So give me Baumwalker and the home atmosphere with Arkansas.
Yeah, you said it pretty well. I like Arkansas pitching. They're at home. For Tennessee to win, they need it to be emotional and chaotic. I think Dave Van Horn makes it very clear to his team, do not buy into their bullshit. Stick to your game. Make them play our game. Because if you start trying to play Tennessee's game, Tennessee's going to eat you alive. But I think Arkansas is very focused and disciplined enough to play their own game and make Tennessee play their game. So give me the Hogs at home.
Doesn't this kind of feel like roles reversed this year between the two teams? I think last year, Arkansas, incredible regular season. They had Hagen Smith thrown every Friday, which is their equivalent to Liam Doyle for Tennessee this year. But it's like after Doyle, you got talented arms, but like, are you going to trust your Saturday guy? No, probably not. You can trust your Sunday guy? Yeah, probably not. I do like Arkansas to win this series, and I think they're the clear-cut favorite to win the College World Series for the first time ever, which is nice. I know one of you just hit on it, but it's been since 2001 since Tennessee has won a series in Fayetteville. And like after that many years, like maybe there's a reason. Like maybe there is a reason. So I like Arkansas to advance out of the Super Regional. Just we all liked them preseason. It's hard to go back to back in college baseball, and this Tennessee team has like different experience level than last year's team, right? Like it's a pretty much well, not pretty much. There's a lot of new guys that didn't play in these high leverage games last year.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch the Super Regional in Eugene, guys. By the way.
And that was so fun. The NCAA posting that graphic.
Yeah.
I was like, one of two things either happened. Either Oregon bid like $10 million and was like, we want to host this series because that's going to be freaking sweet. Or they just used the same template that they used for the softball super regionals. And in that last final spot, it was the Eugene, and they forgot to switch the name.
I will never give anybody shit for errors on a graphic. We'll never do it.
Yeah. I feel you. All right, cool. Anything else we want to talk about this episode? Nope. Anybody got anything they want to blurt out?
That's it for me.
To blurt out.
I actually have my conspiracy theory that I want to just explain now because it might not ever happen. So, guys, listen up and clip this if you want. I might send it to both coaching staffs.
No.
But if I think I might put them in a group chat together.
Oh, you should absolutely do that.
I will. In that top right portion of the College World Series bracket, if UTSA wins their Super Regional and if Murray State wins their Super Regional this weekend, UTSA will play Murray State in that first round matchup in Omaha, game number 3 or whatever, at Omaha. If I'm UTSA and I'm Murray State, I have a handshake agreement that we're going to throw like our number 8, 9, and 10 pitchers this game. And we're going to save all of our dudes. We're not going to throw any of our starters. We're not going to throw any of our relievers because one of us is going to play in that winner's bracket game and one of us is going to play in the loser's bracket game. And guess what? We get to start our number 1 guy and have all of our best arms available to take down the LSUs or Arkansas or Tennessees, West Virginias of the world. And it gives them the best chance to advance to the College World Series final.
100%.
Right? Like, hey, we're going to have a handshake agreement. If we both start our number 1s game 1, like,
we're both
toast
done
the rest of the tournament. We're both done. But if we both save our number 1s and our best bullpen pieces, like, we got a shot to not only win game 2, but like come out of the loser's bracket and eliminate a team because they'll be on their number 2 or number 3. So it's like something to think about.
And speaking,
you get
go ahead.
2 mid-majors facing off game 1, handshake agreement. Like, let's just best offense win.
And speaking of the the top pitchers, Murray State, I loved watching their top 2 arms, Nick Shuddy and Isaac Silva. They're both spin gods, man. Shuddy's got like this, quirky left leg kick, and then he'll throw this big bender of kind of a 210 break or a 2-8 sort of break on his whether it's a slider or a curveball. I have no idea what he wants to call it. And then Silva's more of your 3/4 with the slider type of arm and a good sink on his fastball. That was a fun combo to watch. And you talk about that at the top right of the bracket, top left of the bracket. Dude, if we get Miami, Florida State going at each other, you might see all 3 starting pitchers in that one.
Yeah. Dude, there's so many good potential matchups in that first round of Omaha. With like, we could have LSU versus Arkansas or LSU versus Tennessee game 1. We have potential to have Miami, Florida State, Oregon State, UNC,
Tennessee, LSU,
Coastal against UNC. Like, there's a ton of great.
Isn't it Tennessee, LSU, or Tennessee, Arkansas?
Yeah, it could be. It's LSU against either Arkansas or Tennessee if LSU wins. But yeah, if West Virginia wins, you could have West Virginia, Tennessee.
Which is the rivalry.
Yeah. A lot of good matchups. But anyways, I got nothing else here. I said
that's it for me.
I want it to happen.
Another great weekend ahead.
All right, good deal.
Check out the article that I wrote this past weekend. Went through the entire timeline. It was the first time I'd ever done something of that, but
I read it. I liked it. I forgot to mention it. I liked it.
Went through the entire timeline of the Brian O'Connor hire at Mississippi State. He still, to this moment, hasn't thanked Virginia, which
He
is
hasn't said anything.
he hasn't acknowledged it, which is just unbelievable because
I think that means he's mad at them. They weren't willing to support baseball the way
the
he wanted.
athletic director, she specifically stated like her plan, her dream for Virginia athletics is good at football and Olympic sports. So, if
He said that.
yeah, it's all over the website. So
Hate to
Yep.
see that.
Well, see you later.
exactly. Yeah. The basketball coach said see you later prior to the year too. They're having to replace basketball and baseball. And basketball won a natty in 2019.
No.
Tough times.
Well, that's it.
All right, cool. Let's end the episode. We appreciate everybody for listening, and we'll be back into the Super Regionals to recap it and then preview Omaha.